Hi, my name is Darren Joseph from HEJ.tax. We're the team that seeks to demystify the sometimes confusing world of international taxation. And today we have the honor and the privilege of speaking with Mr. Ron Murphy. Ron, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
My name is Ron Murphy. As you might tell from my accent, I'm actually Irish. I come from a private banking background in Ireland, and I've been working with the expat community here since 2012. I'm a financial planning manager with a company in Solution. What we try to help our customers basically in terms of growing wealth, whether it be via liquidities, whether it be optimizing taxation, and we also deal an awful lot with cross-border issues. We've been around since 2008, so we're based in the southwest of France in Toulouse. We cover all of France.
The first product that I want to explore with you is the Assurance Vie. So for those who aren't familiar with it, do you want to give us an overview as to what it is?
Yeah, of course. So an Assurance Vie, and I suppose people, especially people from the expat community, when they come over and they hear Assurance Vie, they think it's some sort of an assurance or an insurance vehicle, but it's not. It's a savings vehicle. And what's interesting with the Assurance Vie is that it's kept separate from your global wealth. What I mean by that is that it has its own fiscality, it has its own tax regime. So whatever is in the Assurance Vie, you have the choice of even putting it towards the Assurance Vie taxation. What's interesting with the Assurance Vie taxation that you have two different advantageous taxation systems. You have the one during your lifetime, and you have the one on debt. And the one during your lifetime, basically, between the years from when you start the Assurance Vie up to the 8th year, you have liability on the gains. So the way I would explain is that when you put money into an Assurance Vie, that is your own money. And then it's on the capital gains, on the growth that you're taxed. But when you make a withdrawal, the majority of the withdrawal is the money that you put in, and it's a small percentage, which is the capital gains, and it's on that small percentage that you're taxed. The tax on that will differ during the length of time that you have it. So between the moment you open up the Assurance Vie, the 8th year, you are taxed at 12.8%. However, there's also 17.2% of social charges. As everything in France, social charges are paid on the vast majority, whether it be your revenue, any type of revenue, there's social charges on. So globally, it's a flat tax of 30%. After the 8th year, things differ. There's a tax rebate. There's a tax rebate of €4,600 for a single person and €9,200 for a married couple. Now, this is on the globality of your Assurance Vie, because you can have as many Assurance Vies as you like. However, it's on the globality of your Assurance Vie, and so that you make the Assurance Vie in 1 year. So after the 8th year, you can actually withdraw quite a substantial amount from you can withdraw from your Assurance Vie without actually paying any capital gains on it. So it becomes very interesting. That's why people open up Assurance Vie in France, just to get the clock started, so that they can benefit from this tax rebate after the 8th year. Okay? If, say, for instance, you withdrew more than to exceed the tax rebate, well, then there's two taxations are involved there. There's 7.5% taxation if you have less than €150,000, and then it goes up to 12.8% again if you have more than €150,000. But again, do not forget, there's also the social charges in that. So that is taxation during your lifetime. Now, there's also a benefit for, and this is very interesting for people as well, because as you may be aware of, that inheritance tax in France is actually compared to a lot of European countries. So say, for instance, you can donate €100,000 every 15 years to your children, tax-free, plus there's also another amount that you can donate in liquidities that are separate to that, slightly over €10,000. This is actually an added value because, again, it's kept separate from your global wealth. You can actually have as many beneficiaries as you wish within Assurance Vie, and you can donate up to €152,500 per beneficiary, tax-free. Wow. So it's as if it's a great way of reducing inheritance, and that's why it's very important to actually for people to sit down with an advisor once their global wealth has reached a point where there will be an impact for their loved ones in terms of inheritance tax. It's quite important to sit down with someone and optimize the inheritance tax via an Assurance Vie, and then obviously there is other ways as well via dim on home and things like that, but that's another subject. But where it's important to actually is that 152,500 per beneficiary, okay, can be given to anyone, and it's per beneficiary. But any amounts put into an assurance fee after 70 years of age, that changes, that rule changes. Any amount after 70 years of age, it's actually 30,500 euros on the globality of the beneficiary. So it's not 152,000 per beneficiary, it's 30,500 on the globe for all of the beneficiaries. So it becomes less interesting. So that's why it's always 70 years of age is an important date in France where people start looking, oh, maybe I should liquidate certain assets and things like that and optimize it. In terms of what can be put into an assurance fee, you have a huge amount of options. So it can be depending on your risk grade, or we can have something that's secure, like a FOMO, so you have a guaranteed fund, or it will be diversified and there's umpteen options available. You can even there's options available. So that's pretty much it. Unless you
that is a pretty interesting instrument. So from a U.S. tax point of view, it's kind of like an ISA in the U.K. in that it has many tax deferred components to it. But of course, from a U.S. point of view, those tax deferrals aren't going to happen, unfortunately. So generally speaking, outside of the U.S. and whether it be in the U.K. or in France, there are these hybrid life insurance policies / unit link investment vehicles, and they're quite common. And the Assurance Vie is a prime example of it. From our point of view, if it is, typically stocks and shares, that's going to be a PFIC, and that gets PFIC treatment. If it is close to cash, then one could argue if it's a cash Assurance Vie, then maybe it's not a PFIC. But as discussed in other articles and in other videos we've done, PFIC treatment is something that one should be aware of. I mean, it's not necessarily a way of saying, no, you should stay away from it. It is evil, run away. What it means is that you're going to need to, the quick, easy version is that you need to pay tax along the way. So it's not going to be tax deferred. Every year that there is growth in the fund, that becomes taxable. So of course there may be some cash flow constraints because essentially you're paying tax on phantom income. This is income that has not been distributed to you yet. You have not accessed it yet. But from a US point of view, you'll be paying tax on it. Now for some people, I imagine that will make sense. If it's a good performing portfolio, I'll take cash from elsewhere and I'm going to pay the US tax on it because I think this is a good deal. And when you're in France, or in Europe in general, you are in the highest tax and the most regulated jurisdictions on planet Earth. So you're really optimizing for Europe. You're optimizing for France, not for the US, because the French tax rates are way higher. And as you mentioned, especially around inheritance taxes and stuff like that. So I agree, you should be optimizing for France, bearing in mind the US consequences, and depending on your unique circumstances, you know what? Even if it's a PFIC, maybe it's a good deal. Maybe the ROI is there, the return on the investment is there in the long run.
Yeah, I don't know. The one advantage I could see from it is that in terms of the inheritance side, if you have descendants in France, I can see an advantage there. Again, so the major reasons why you have an assurance fee tax rebate after the 8 years so that you reduce down those taxation on capital gains. The fact that there is taxation in the States, it reduces hugely the
attractiveness of the product.
Yeah. It can do this. I would have a hard time recommending Assurance Vie for clients. So it's something that
be conscious about. I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't recommend anything. From a tax point of view, we're math guys. So if someone wants to invest in an Assurance Vie or any similar product, we could run scenarios and let the taxpayer decide.
That would be something that would be super interesting.